Hello, dear students, and welcome to our first online class for this war. I would like to tell all of you that I really miss you. I miss my spot in the class. I miss my life. I miss your faces, your presence, your interaction, and hopefully we'll go back to our schools and classes like really soon. Our lesson for today is going to be about human rights and the privileges, human rights and values. Before we get deeper into our lesson, we need first to introduce the term human rights. What is meant by the term human rights or privileges? By the way, privileges has the same meaning as rights. So human rights are the basic rights and freedoms that every person has simply because they are human. So, because we are human beings, the moment we are born, we should be granted our human rights or privileges. They are the basic necessities for a free, just life. They include rights such as freedom, equality, safety, and the right to education and justice. So we have so many human rights, including the right to education, equality, freedom, expressing your opinions freely, practicing your religion freely. All of these are very basic human rights that should be granted to every human being as soon as they are born. Now, who coined the human rights? Who made them? Who wrote them? When were they coined? And who is responsible for upholding or protecting them? Now, so we have three questions here. The first question is, who wrote or combined or coined the human rights and when? And who is responsible for protecting or upholding these human rights? So, the modern idea of human rights was officially established by the United Nations in 1948. So in 1948, the UN or the United Nations decided to make the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Okay? So, human rights as we know them now were coined by the United Nations or the UN in 1948. Now, who is supposed to protect these human rights? Who is supposed to make sure human beings are taking their human rights? Definitely governments, policymakers, international organizations, legal systems, stakeholders. Now, those are the ones responsible for what? For protecting human rights and making sure that every human being is being granted his human rights. Now, are they really doing their job? No. لأنه so many people, so many human beings are not granted their human rights. Which brings us to the third question, which is, are human rights being protected nowadays? Now, in some places, okay, these rights are protected. Human beings are granted their human rights. So human rights are protected in many countries through laws and international agreements. But in so many other places, human rights are violated. Violated يعني they are broken. يعني human beings are not given their human rights. So, in so many places around the world, human rights are violated. The rights of human beings are being violated. Why are they violated? Because of conflicts, wars, because of discrimination, because of weak laws, because of weak policymakers. What matters is that now in the 21st century, still so many human beings are denied their human rights. Denied, yani not given. Still, human rights are being violated and no one is doing anything. Now, examples of violation of human rights from real life. Let's examine some examples of violations. In South Africa, for instance, black citizens were denied equal rights, freedom or movement and political participation. In South Africa, black people were not allowed to express their opinions freely. They were not allowed to share in politics or vote. They were not allowed to move يعني in the country freely. Isn't this violation of their human rights? Definitely it is. Another example is in some countries, children are forced to work for long hours in factories or farms instead of going to school, violating the right to education and justice. One of the very basic human rights is the right to education, the right to go to school, the right to gain knowledge. Now, in so many poor third world countries, the children are forced to work instead of going to school, instead of playing, instead of enjoying their time. They are forced to work. Now, this is violation to their human rights, and this is a very stark violation of human rights. Those children are denied the right to enjoy life, to educate, to gain knowledge, to go to school. Another example of violations of human rights is in some countries, journalists or activists are arrested for criticizing the government, violating the right to express opinions. As you know, in so many, especially in Arabian countries, do you think in the journalists and people and the human rights activists are free to say whatever they want and write whatever they want? No, they are not. So many of them are arrested or taken to jail if they wrote something against the government or if they expressed their opinions about the policies freely. And we see examples of journalists and activists being arrested every day for just expressing their opinions freely, for writing what they think or saying what they believe, which is violation to the human rights which is expressing your opinions freely. Another example is certain ethnic or religious groups face violence or are denied basic rights such as and the persecution. Now, what do we mean by persecution? Persecution means treating a person or a group unfairly or cruelly because of their beliefs, religion, race, nationality, or opinions. So, in some countries, some religious groups are treated unfairly. They are treated cruelly. They are being tortured. They are being they are put under surveillance simply because they have a certain religion. This is called persecution. So persecution is when you treat someone unfairly, when you treat someone cruelly simply because he has a different religion or a different belief. An example to that is what's happening in Myanmar, okay, for the Rohingya people. The Rohingya people in Myanmar have a certain religion. They are a certain ethnic group in Myanmar. Myanmar is a country. They are facing persecution simply because they are different from the rest of the people in Myanmar. Another example to that is the Uyghur in China. The Uyghur in China are a Muslim group. They are a Muslim ethnic group. Okay? And they are facing persecution and they are treated unfairly by the Chinese government simply because they are Muslims. And the last example we have is In some regions, such as Afghanistan, girls are prevented from attending school, which violates their right to education and equality. Imagine, in the 21st century, in some countries, still girls are not allowed to attend schools, to learn, to seek knowledge. They are not allowed. They are obliged to stay in their houses. They are denied the right to education. Still, till today. And this is happening in Afghanistan already. Now, this is an introduction to our new unit. Definitely in the coming videos, we will go deeper into human rights. What are the basic human rights? What causes violations to human rights? What are the effects of these violations? Etc. Okay, up until then, stay safe. Hopefully, we will meet soon. Goodbye.